for some strange reason, every time I walk down this alley, I think Chassiduss, and I don't know why, because so many things to think about. There's work, there's this, there's family. Every time I walk down this alley, when I come to stay in Tokyo, I think Chassiduss. So, in yeshiva we had this guy, Wolf. He teaches, I think it's something called Yagdal Torah. He visits the Besh Center. Good place for haircuts. So, in yeshiva he would say to me, I don't want to sit down and learn a maimer, read it like, the Rebbe Shab opens up the maimer like with a passport, and then he goes into a concept that's not related to what it starts out with. So he says, you finish the maimer and we'll talk about it. And I was like, okay. And it didn't happen as often. Two guys sitting down reading, it happens. But for two people to give me homework, it doesn't always happen that way. But when it happened, it was great. And then he would say to me this. He would say, the whole point of the maimer is just to keep you, to distract you, to buy time, so to speak, and to keep you away from girls. Now, girls is just a concept of sin, distraction. Like the Alter Rebbe says, even your wife and kids could be a distraction from God. It could be considered the same. So, or the hoo-ha from Łעלט, I think he would call it, they would say in Chassiduss. By the way, this is the toy car that I spoke about, that the guy thought it was a toy car for kids. He didn't see in the photo. It's not for kids. It's pretty big. If you look at it, it's huge. So all the hoo-ha from Łעlט, it doesn't mean fashion, good food. You see, here in Tokyo, the biggest Yetzer is not women. The women here are known to be reserved. This is not Paris. But in food, this is the biggest taiva is food. And in food, this place supersedes Paris. By 3-star, the restaurant, the rating, it's higher than Paris. But he said to me, the Chassiduss was to distract us from anything else. So I said, what are you talking? Like, you serious? Like, this is like all this Chassiduss? All this kind of like what I would call science of Judaism? So anyway, he's 100% right. Now, the milk here, the Chol of Yisrael concept, it's not to take us away so much from Goyim, it's to take us away from other Frum Yidden, because the enemy of Chassiduss really was those who were more religious than the Chassidim, those who followed halacha more strictly, those who so on and so forth. Anyway, the fashion here is also pretty good. It's not the hub of fashion, but it's very good. So anyway, the first bacher in 770 to wear a fedora with ripped jeans, a hat and jacket and ripped jeans, was Avrem Shem Tov. Now remember, all this is Hasidic garb. Forget the jeans. Remember in camp we were asking, why is jeans bad? We didn't know. And the guy was like, it's fashion. It's fashion. That's why. Some Lubavitch Yeshivanik told us. But everything here is like, this coat is balabatish, your mommy will have nachas from you. This hat is a Chassidish hat, but just that it shouldn't be modern. And I think there's a story in the Gemara like that. So it's really modernity. Modernity is really the problem. Modernity is always, see that BMW going up the hill? So whenever I'm crossing through this alley, last time we were thinking about Tanya, someone recently asked me, I think he's a Catholic, or raised Catholic, but he asked me if the Tanya is relevant today. And I said, look, whatever the Tanya says, if it's a very sacred book, you want to make it relevant, and that's going to be very difficult. But whatever the Tanya says was for people who believed medieval stuff. And last week, exactly a week ago, Shabbos, at Chabad, here in Tokyo, I'm sitting and waiting for them to read the Torah, so I wanted to entertain my mind. I opened up the G'hã Tshuva, and the Alter Rebbe mentions Chachmei HaMusar, Nechlaku, little difference of opinion by the about fasting. And people bow here They bow here even when they're on a bicycle. Oh shit, sorry. I thought he was passing, I didn't understand, but I bowed to him like to go ahead. People bow even on a bike. They go, it's amazing. Like they're on a bike, they're like they're trying to balance on two wheels and passing some people and they bow. Unbelievable. So this is going to be opened. These chefs, by the way, this guy here, I think you could see before he opens, he's sleeping, you see? He's sleeping. He works hard. This is they take the business seriously. And last time I saw him reading a newspaper here, before he opens the shop, and it's open till late. So my wife gets back at, let's say she'll get back before midnight. She's going to go out with her friends, and I'm going to be able to go out after midnight. This is a city that never sleeps. Coming from LA where they close at 2. So two things. The Chol of Yisrael is there to distract us from to Łעלט min ha'toyim. Asher Farkish in 770, they asked him, we're davening Łעלט. And I said, what is Łעלט min ha'toyim? So he said, the misnagdim. It's not the gear ka'alocha and the goyim and this imaginary enemy that you create in your mind. No one's out to get you. You could do what you want. You could wish. You could kiss the Torah 1,000 times. No one's going to stop you. This was, the Chol Yisrael was to separate from the misnagdim. To separate from other from a Yidden who might be more from than you. So when the Rebbe spoke about shlichus, he said many contradictory things. He was very clever and sly about that. So he said, when you go out on shlichus to these hick towns, and you see these Yidden, they're probably nicer than you. Shener v'din, and that's phenomenal. It's that's a vort that it makes the Oived Hashem like think, oh, I have to restart everything I believe in. Wow, so aspirational. I'm the shliach, and you're telling me that this guy in a hick town is shener, nicer than you. So I'm gonna finish because it's too noisy here. Continue later. So I was listening to that in camp once, the Sikh. I used to listen to like a few good 100 hours of the Rebbe talking. And I had no education background, so I could never really see what the Rebbe was saying. Today I could, so I enjoy it more. But what he said, oh, this is a busy intersection. What he said was, he said, and then this guy, Wolansky, this counselor, a very Chassiduss guy, said to me, what are you listening to? He thought I'm listening to Kosher music. And he saw I have a Walkman, there's no radio in it. The radio was the enemy. The radio wasn't the enemy. You need something to panic about. A religious system where you're not really learning anything real, you're not doing anything. So you need something to panic about. So they had the radios, Werner would say, whoever has a radio, turn it in. Radio is nothing, the radio is the best thing. It's to keep the kids entertained while you're keeping them in a camp. Year after year, proclaiming it was a special camp for Mashiachistim. It wasn't even Judaism per se. It was just to keep you separate from the other Lubavitchers. This keeps happening, by the way. So this is the phenomenal thing that interests many anthropologists about religion, is how each leader has to keep the group entertained and separate from others, and especially the hardest thing is to keep it when the group is living side by side with democracy. When I tell someone go to Park Slope and you'll see how spend the Shabbos there, he's shocked that he never thought of it for 20 years, and he's shocked that it's so true. They're Yidden just like you over there, whether it's modern Orthodox. But when you go there, one time I was shlichus in Italy, and this group of modern Orthodox boys from Yeshiva University said that they were in Thailand and they were stuck without their kosher food, or and they basically, the Rebbeim let them go out and eat Thai food, or whatever they found in the market. Of course they told them there's a heter, v'chai. But really it's because they were educated. They understood that this kosher food is a minig, it's not a din. It's not serious. But we took it seriously. So when we were in camp, and we were stuck without food. The Meshachis camp, Machna Menachem, so there was another camp at the same water park. It was Litvish, and they had an abundance of food. You know, you're talking about Hashgacha Pratis. So, with their abundance of food, they said to us, eat. Achlo anovim bizbo. It's Sfarda Shechita Bet Yosef. Because the camp had some Sfardim in there, and the way these Litvish were thinking, they had the more strict Shechita. So I asked Ben Shapep, if we're hungry, and we don't have any option, should we, wow, it was amazing, the style here. If they're hungry, we don't have an option, should we go for the misnagdish of what they're offering us? And Ben Shapep said no. This cruelty that he had was a basic case study when you want to start a pedic of what religion sums itself up to. This cruelty, we were hungry, it was the end of a day, we weren't getting a lot of food. And I remember the weaker guys, they were weaker, they weren't more rational because they didn't have an education to understand. They just ate the food anyway. And I looked at them, one of them was my close friend, and I looked at him like a weaker character because he ate the food. Like the story of Daniel in the king's court where he doesn't eat the forbidden foods, you know. So, okay, thank you for watching. Sei Chamishi, sei gesund, l'chaim. These people.